right, welcome back to It's Basically Monday. I am your host
Uh,
today, Johnny G. I'm here with the boys, the regulars.
hey,
Hello, hello.
hello.
So, what is new with everyone? We had a little bit of a hiatus, but we made it back. What's gone on in the last 2 weeks?
Nothing. I am still just a parent. Just a parent.
Just a
I'm just
parent.
a bill. No, yeah, that's it. Same old. I'm about to go visit my new parents' house in Shaniqua. Well, not my new parents, but my parents' new house in Shaniqua, Wisconsin, which we were just talking about is like a fancy neighborhood that apparently I need to go check out. So yeah, that's yet to happen. That's gonna be this Sunday. So I can talk about Shaniqua people and yeah, it's literally pronounced. I was like Shaniqua. Are you sure it's not like pronounced Shanakwa or it's like an Indian name? So she's like, no, it's legitimately pronounced Shaniqua. I was like, that sounds like you're making fun of something like, but no, that's the legit pronunciation. Shaniqua, Wisconsin, very small, very pretty wealthy village. So yeah, that's about it.
Makes me think of that professor that at Whitewater named Marijuana.
And it was pronounced.
Yeah, that was
It was
crazy, man.
pronounced that.
No, that
Yeah, it
was her
was
name.
literally her name. It wasn't like it was a
Like,
weird spelling and it pronounced marijuana. It was literally the word marijuana.
Yeah.
oh my
That
God.
was her first
No.
name,
Yeah, that was her
man.
first name.
Like,
Yeah.
that's
No,
what her
that
Yes.
can't
parents did to
be.
her. It was
Yes.
crazy. Yeah.
How is
I,
that legal?
She's in
I
politics
don't
now,
know.
I'm pretty sure, too.
Her name is Marijuana. Like, what
Yes.
was her last name?
I don't remember.
Joint.
Marijuana
Joint.
Jones. Yeah, Marijuana
Joint.
Joint.
Joint. Joint is pressing the issue. That joint is joint is absolutely crazy.
Oh
Marijuana
man,
joint.
wow.
There are parents that are
Mm.
having kids right now that are doing stuff like that.
Yeah, that's a wild thing to do to your kid.
Marijuana. Marijuana. That's four syllables. First off, that's way too long for anyone's name. Second off, like,
First off, it's marijuana. What?
yeah.
What the fuck?
Oh my God.
Why would you do that?
Yeah, that's not a
Can
good
you guys
name.
think of any like mind altering substance that would make an actual name? If someone put you like they had a gun to your head and said, "All right, you need to name your child this, or I'm killing your entire family."
Oh my God.
I feel like opium is pretty good. That has a ring
Opium?
to it. Yeah.
Opium.
Psilocybin?
Yeah, silly.
Yeah, there we go. You can you
Little
can
silly.
shorten it.
A little
Little
silly.
silly. Mushroom?
Yeah, like why the person from marijuana? Why not just name it her Mary? Like, did you have to go the full like Mary? Why you wrote that all out on a birth certificate? Why?
He's like, I heard this crazy words on the street the other day. Marijuana. It was beautiful. I think I'll name my daughter
Yeah.
that. Like, no, like, did
Yeah.
no one tell her
What's
like what
what's
that
interesting
was?
about
Like,
the lady from Whitewater too is like it's her whole. I don't want to say it's her whole brand, but like at Whitewater, it really felt like her whole brand. I don't know why, but like she made a point of when she spoke at the to the freshmen, she was like, "Yeah, that's my name," and like I could have just been really upset about that being my name, or I could have changed it, but I decided to like live with it and show people you can still do great things. And I was like, "But your name's marijuana, though." Like,
yeah, you don't have to live with it. You can just go get it changed.
yeah,
Like,
like why are you placing this extra burden on yourself for no reason? But I mean, it works for her, so hey, you live your life, do your thing,
you do you,
you
girl.
do you, girl.
Yeah, don't you think you guys don't think that her parents did her a little bit of a favor? Like that branding, it's unique, it's original.
Yeah,
No
we're
one else is
talking
gonna
about
have
it.
that.
What's
Yeah,
her Instagram?
marijuana.
Marijuana.
Like if you search on Google marijuana, like she probably shows up on page 2 or something. That's pretty good.
Marijuana. Yeah. What was she? A professor? You said?
Yeah, she used to be a professor. I
Yeah.
think.
No, she was like a
Was she not?
counselor.
Oh, a counselor. No, you're right. You're right.
Yeah.
A marijuana counselor? I don't know. I don't think that'll show up any.
Yeah.
Like, there's gonna be so many like AA like pages you'd have to scroll through.
Yeah.
Man. Yeah, I don't remember her name.
What about you guys? Anything new? Yeah, we missed last week. That's right. I
Yo,
forgot about
okay,
that.
wait, all right. Wait before we move on. I had to look up her name. Her name is Marijuana Pepsi Van Dyke or Van Dyck.
No way.
Van Dyck. Okay, I'm gonna
Oh,
put
her
the.
parents. She
I'm
needed to be
gonna,
taken away.
no, no,
She
wait,
needed to be
no, wait,
taken
wait,
away.
wait, 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 wait.
Pepsi Van Dyke, or did you pronounce it Van Dyck? Like, what's
it's Dyck.
D
Wait,
Van
is that her
Van
born name
Dyck?
or she get married or something?
Wait, hold on.
No, she changed her name to that. No one would ever do
No,
that.
no, no, no. That's her
Maiden
name.
name?
Yeah. Yeah, her parents, Aaron and Maggie Jackson, chose her name. Okay, yeah. She lived in
Maggie
Chicago.
Jackson?
Yeah, dude, yeah. Okay, wait. I'm gonna
How
put the
come their last
spelling.
name is Jackson?
I don't
So
know.
she married a Van Dyck. Man, she's just going all
Wow.
in.
Yeah, she's like, you have a terrible name too. I could just add to how terrible my
Yeah,
name is.
There's no
Yeah,
exactly.
way.
marijuana Pepsi
I
Van
can't
Dyke.
believe they did that. Like Pepsi, really? That's a little
Pepsi?
much. I was gonna
Wow,
even say
yeah.
like maybe she has a middle name that she can like pivot to, but no, she can't.
That's crazy. So they definitely knew about marijuana. Like they smoked marijuana and their favorite drink was Pepsi. And there's like,
Yeah,
we'll name her marijuana Pepsi, our two favorite things in that
that is
order.
crazy, man.
She did a dissertation titled "Black Names in White Classrooms." Okay, she's full. She's all in. She's all in
Yeah,
on the names. It's
but it
clear.
worked
Yeah,
though.
it's
Like
clear.
she has a whole career.
It's
She
her.
has
It's
everything.
her
Marijuana
entire brand.
Pepsi is a black name?
It's her entire brand.
You don't think so? I would say so.
Yeah, I would
I
say
don't
so
know what the
too.
fuck kind of name is that. I would say marijuana. I don't even know. That's like Middle Eastern or something. And then
Like it,
Pepsi. Where does
No, it's a
that come
drug.
from?
I think it's. I will say I think it's a stretch. I do personally to say that this is like, yeah. Do I expect people who would name their kids that to be black most likely if I had to pick? Yes, but I do not think that's a black name. Like I don't think that's like
Yeah.
that. It's not rooted in any like black heritage. It's just something that it just happens to be a mistake that a black person made. Like don't
Yeah,
label it
right.
like don't bring that to all black people. Like don't act like this is just something that we do together. It's not. Your parents decided to do that crazy shit.
Yeah, that's how I like to think of it too. I was like,
And then
I
to
don't know,
like
like
and then to take that and like do a whole thing on it just seems
you
like a
said
lot.
black names in the classroom.
In what
Like,
in
damn,
no
like
black names in white classrooms. Like you're literally making this about race.
no, I think your name would be weird in a black classroom too. I'm not even gonna
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, it would
Yeah,
be.
it would be. That's the point. Fuck.
lie.
Jesus. Your name's Marijuana Pepsi. God
Oh
damn.
God. That's
That's
ridiculous.
weird for anyone, considering all of the things we know about both marijuana and Pepsi.
I'm surprised. Is there not a strain that's called Pepsi OG or something like that? There's gotta be, right?
There definitely is. Or maybe they would get sued.
That would be
Yeah,
something. That
maybe
sounds
that's
like
why we
something
never see
Pepsi
any
would
of that.
make.
What do you
Pepsi
mean get
OG.
sued? Marijuana Pepsi didn't get sued, and it's their goddamn name.
I don't think you can get sued for your name, can you?
I don't
So
think so.
okay, so let's say that she starts a beverage company and she calls it PepsiCo. It's her
I
name,
think
right?
No, you
that is
can't. No,
true.
no, no, you can't do that.
But
Why
yeah,
not?
they're
It's her
already a
name.
Pepsi.
It being your name doesn't matter. Like if it's a if it's on a business, like if you trademark something, they usually just make it like
No, I'm
they can't
saying it's
use it
like it's
commercially.
a sole proprietorship. Like the name of the company is my name.
Yeah, you would. I don't think you'd be able to like market that without running into some type of infringements. Like
That's BS.
if
Like
somebody
it's on
trades
my
if
social
somebody
security
trademarks
card.
it, Yeah, someone.
So my
But
name isn't mine anymore.
generally speaking, like they don't allow you to trademark things like names of things that typically could be a name. So like if I don't think they just let you get away with crazy frivolous trademarks. Like I don't think you could trademark the name John. I don't think you could do that. But if your name's like an activity or like a specific product, like yeah, you came after the thing. So why would you be able to walk around and have that as a business just because somebody named you that?
It
Okay.
says I just searched it. It says basically you can get away with it if your company does not interfere with like any of Pepsi's like industries. Like if you open up like a
Yeah. Yeah.
Pepsi auto shop, like that's fine.
Or a
But
Right.
if you
marijuana
start
dispensary.
I guess or a marijuana dispensary. Yeah, that's true. Like as long as yeah, Pepsi doesn't care, like they won't you'll be fine. But apparently if Pepsi cares or it's in their industry, then like they'll win that lawsuit.
Yeah,
That's what it
they just
says.
went. Yeah, exactly.
Mm,
They're
okay.
just like,
Yeah, whoever's first gets the name, basically. That's what it
yep.
says.
Yeah, whoever is quick to the lawyers first, that's who has the ownership.
Let's pretend that your name. All right, Valero. Let's pretend your name was Ace Pilot Zanoni. Would you feel inclined to become a pilot?
I feel like that's really interesting. Ace Pilot Zanoni. I feel like yeah, it would make me slightly more
Your
inclined.
name
Like
is Ace too, like
yeah, like it's too much. Like
like
that gives me
Ace
like
on
a
its
couple
own is
points
like a
for
70s pilot name, a 70s or 80s movie pilot name. Ace?
definitely. Yeah, 100%. Ace Pilot,
Ace pilot?
marijuana. Pepsi. Hilarious.
Like you wear the uniform that says 001 on it. Like that's you. You're the first
Yeah,
one.
you're the one.
Yeah, one of the long lost descendants of
Yeah.
Pontius Pilate.
You're him.
Yeah. Yeah, and what if John? What if your name was Moneymaker Gray? Would you
Mm.
feel like you have to be rich?
Uh,
Would that make you more
so
inclined to
yeah,
want to
so
be
funny
rich?
about that is like I'm already somewhat inclined to that. What?
Yeah, what if your name was yeah, Moneymaker
Yeah.
Moneybags or something?
Yeah.
Like you can't be broke. Like you
No,
can't show up
definitely
to
not.
anyone
Yeah.
broke with that
Yeah.
name.
No, I don't think you can.
Like they would never let you
But
live
see,
that
that's the
down.
thing. That's why you have to be allowed to change your name. Because if you ever find out that like that your name literally like aligns with an action or a thing that you identify with 0%, like you have to change it. It's just in your best interest to, so that you never have to be aligned with a thing you don't like. Like, why fight that battle? Why
Yeah,
bother
that's
with that?
true. Yeah, like if your name was Nazi sympathizer, like you'd
Yeah,
have to get it changed.
yeah, yeah. Why would you want that? Like, why would you want to
Who
stand
would
on that
who
ground?
would do that? I'm almost positive. So
Who would do
correct me if
this?
I'm wrong.
Marijuana Pepsi, the same people who would do this.
I'm sorry, but that's just like that's hate speech. Everyone loves marijuana.
Yeah,
And
that's true.
most people love
So
Pepsi.
yeah, when you
Yeah,
guys
that's
when you
good.
guys were at the hospital and you were doing like so when you named your children, is there like a certificate or something that you fill out, right?
Like
And
barely, but yeah.
Yeah,
so this
you fill out
so that
forms.
thing so that thing isn't anything like when you make a username online, it's like, oops, you can't use that word, or nope, can't use that character. You can literally put whatever you want.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I could have put a string of random numbers and
yeah.
letters
And then
together.
when you
I thought
submit
they
it, it's
didn't.
it's final when you submit it to Social Security.
I thought they didn't let
Yeah.
Musk do that because he wanted to name his kid like Wingdings, like
Yeah.
Web Windings number 7 or something. Like that's so bad. Like what a slap in the face of human existence that you create a person and then name them such a useless name. Like, oh my god.
Maybe in Elon's future, his that child's name would be useful. In the future, he imagines maybe that's what everyone's named.
it would be.
It would
Like
just
is
be
that kid supposed to
Wingdings.
be more inclined to use like Web Windings number 7 or something?
Yeah. Yep.
Like that's old now, isn't it? Like that's a
Yeah.
retro meme. Wingdings.
Yeah, it's already retro. Not
Yeah.
even around the time when the kid would have been born, even like. So that doesn't even make sense. That'd be like naming someone like me, like I don't even know like what would be retro like that doesn't exist from like
Eight
the
track.
50s or 60s. Yeah, like yeah. Yeah, 8-track Jones. Like 8 track. I like. So you know about 8 tracks? Nope, never seen one before. Oh,
So you love 8 tracks, huh? Don't even know what those are.
like literally never seen one. I thought that was my original name.
Wait, John, so did you answer? Did you say you felt like you would have to make money?
I feel like if I was the exact same person, then I would feel like I was already inclined, and so I would just take that as like an omega sign. I'd be like, yeah, man, that means I got to go do it. So yeah, I guess so. I feel like I kind of would need to, or I would have to change my name. Like those are the only two options.
Like, what if
Okay.
your name was like Dumbfuck Jones or
Yeah,
something?
like
Like,
I'm
would
not
you feel
keeping
like
that.
more okay with like failing like classes? Like, whatever. Like, my name's already Dumbfuck Jones.
Like
Like,
whatever. I'm
nobody has a better reputation.
like
Like
anytime anyone would
idea of
ask you
me.
why you weren't doing well, you'd be like, I'm dumb fuck Jones. Like,
Holy
I'm just dumb fuck Jones,
Oh.
man. He's like the teacher comes over, it's like dumb fuck and F again. He's like, what do you have to say for yourself? I'm dumb fuck Jones.
Well,
He just
just
shrugs
throw
his
your hands
shoulders.
up.
Yeah.
I like it's
Holy
just an instant
Uh,
excuse.
I could
Like,
have a career as a specific type of writer.
yeah.
We could make
oh
whole shows
man.
out of crazy shit like that. Yeah,
Just
what a world we
Nah,
live
it's
in.
been done. We missed our chance. Sorry.
Oh man,
The window closed.
the window.
Now it's too hard to get like a mass of people to watch and decide that something's funny at the same time.
Yeah, that is true. There's so many options.
Too
So like so
many
many people are already too
options.
busy sifting through garbage to find a
Yeah,
gem.
yeah, we're not all there at the same time ever.
Nah, not unless it's tragedy, unfortunately. Oh man. Yeah, when you were talking about how you just changed your name, John, it made me remember I watched this video the other night. It was one of those generic true crime, like this guy got killed or whatever. And all three of the dudes like got away with it. And then at the end of the video, they're like, and two of these men changed their name and are living happily with new careers and spouses. And I'm like,
Wow.
how how can you like get away with murdering someone and then like you go to the judge and they're like, so why are you changing your name? And he's like, well, I just got away with murder. And he's like, okay.
Yeah.
He's like,
Shouldn't
okay,
they shouldn't they do something about that?
right? Can
No.
someone stop that or something?
Wait, they
Do you
like
even
got
have
off.
to
You're
like
saying
go
they
to a
got
judge
off,
to
right?
change your name?
Yeah, you do.
I know
Like,
you have to
how
put it
come
like
like
in
when
the
our
paper.
wives got their names
Unless
changed,
that's the
like
only like
they didn't have to?
that's the only exception because it's so common.
So like, what if you just say you got married, but then you don't get married?
That you have to like provide paperwork to the effect that you have.
Yeah, but just like Gouda said, there's nothing that like suddenly comes back like, oops, this doesn't register. No one's gonna be looking at that paperwork. Like if you get married, if you just write down that like you're getting married to Dumbfuck Jones and like send in the paperwork, I bet you can get away with it. I bet nothing would happen for like a while.
Yeah. I
Yeah,
promise
are you
you.
saying could you forge paperwork good enough to change your name like falsifying change your name? Yeah, probably.
Yeah, fraudulently just changing your name. I mean, just like literally, yeah, just do the paperwork saying you're married. I like, do you have to like see a judge for sure?
I mean, I'd had to.
You got your name changed? Oh, that's right.
Yeah, that's
That
why I
happened
was.
like
Yeah, that's what I was
that happened
saying.
like
Yes.
way later. How old were you when that happened?
17.
17. Okay, so you 100% remember the experience.
Yeah.
So like the did the judge ask you why you wanted your name changed?
Yep.
And it was like obviously a pretty easy answer because like your dad or whatever.
Yep.
So like in this case, so like yeah, they say okay, it's because I got away with murder, and then the judge literally just was like, okay, that
No.
is
Yeah.
ridiculous. That's
Well,
insane.
well, like, wait, was this person like literally acquitted? Like, did they just not, or did they just not get charged at all?
Yeah, they were acquitted. They were found not
Oh,
He was
well,
like,
guilty.
that's
But
if
well,
the
that's
glove
why.
don't fit.
Yeah, judge can't do anything about that. Just there's nothing they
but
can do.
like now I know you're guilty. Like why? It's like
Yeah,
in
Or
the
it's
paper
maybe,
it says
terrifying.
that
or
by
maybe you're
your
just
name
getting
you're not
like,
guilty.
maybe you're just getting harassed at that point. Like, I would imagine that if you're in a, especially if you're like in a public scandal, like where someone, like you're being accused of murder, if you actually didn't do it, no matter what, even if you get off, your life's never going to be the same. You're always going to be known as the person who was on trial for murder, like always.
Man, harassed by who? I killed someone and got away with it. You're trying to mess with that guy?
The victim's family,
Dude,
maybe. Like if
yeah,
someone killed my daughter, I would
yeah,
harass them if they didn't
yeah.
go to
What
jail.
exactly? Yeah. If I was 1,000% sure that someone had killed Mila, yeah, I'm going to prison.
Yeah, like harassment is the least thing I would
Yeah,
do.
I'm not
Like
concerned about who the
they would
fuck
be
he did to
lucky
my.
it
Yeah,
got to
no.
harassment.
Yeah.
Like just like
Do you
oh,
think do you think it's your responsibility to do that as soon as you become a parent? Both of you?
no. I don't think it's your responsibility. I think it's a choice if you want to avenge your children with whatever severity you
Yeah, I think
choose.
that's true. Yeah. I mean, I'm saying that now, but like I would like to believe that I would have enough composure to be able to be there for Danielle. But make no mistake, part of that composure would be us talking and having a very serious conversation about whether or not we're gonna take revenge or not. Like that
Like especially
conversation's
if you
happening.
went to trial and then just got away. It's like, oh, not
Yeah,
guilty.
absolutely. That conversation is at least being had.
Yeah, definitely. That would be pretty devastating, actually.
Yeah, that would suck.
Yeah. That's America for you. This is
America.
America.
Yeah, and that guy just got to go to a judge and be like, "Yeah, I'd like to change my name to
Wait, sorry.
Innocent Good Samaritan Jones."
Wait, so are you sure this guy did it? Like the
Oh
guy.
yeah, they did it. They did it, man. I
What?
don't need I don't need the legal process. They're guilty
Oh no.
by public trial.
Oh no. Oh
Yeah,
god. Yeah.
honestly, they probably did. I kind of believe it too. I don't even know what he's talking about, but I'm with him.
Yeah, I'll send you guys the link to the video. You actually should watch through it and
Okay.
tell me what you
Yeah,
think, cause
yeah, me and
yeah, they
Lorraine
did
love
it.
watching that kind of stuff.
Everyone does. It's America, just like you said.
Yeah, this is America.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Marijuana Pepsi.
you guys see that topic I posted about the tiny houses?
Yeah.
Yeah, so me and Lorraine started watching this tiny houses like thing, and like I've seen like this one in particular that I asked about like wasn't in like the episodes, but it was like stuff like this. But I saw like a YouTube video of this guy who like took a dumpster like in London and used that as like the base of his house or whatever. And he's like, yeah, like things were just like rent was getting so high and like there's no houses for sale that are affordable. So like I just like saved up and spent like $30,000 and built this house like and like it's like basically like I don't know like the size of a dumpster, but like you can like stand up in it and like it had actually like he kind of built it kind of taller, so it had like a little like bed area that you climbed up a ladder like up by the ceiling. That was pretty cool. But like my question is, what and what would it take for you guys? Like let's say you were single, no one is in your life that needs anything, it's just you. So what would it take for you to live in one of those, essentially? Like would you just do it immediately, like, oh, sign me up? Or would you be like, no, I'd have to be like so desperate to move in? Like for me personally, I feel like it would be cool to like spend like a day in one of those, but like after that, I'd be like, get me out of here. Like I just couldn't do it. Like even if things get tough, I think I have no choice but to like work super hard so I can have like enough space essentially so I don't have to have that or something. Which like I totally get is gonna be difficult, but yeah, like that's that's a little bit rough for me personally. What do you guys think?
Oh, I would never do that. Not because it's like it would be rough, but because I have an issue with living that exposed. Like I feel like it's like exhaust portal on the Death Star situation.
Yeah, like if someone like wanted to do like first off, the noise in that place, I'm sure has to be like you can hear the street and like everything. Like,
But I
yeah,
just feel like it's too easy for me to like lose everything. Like a garbage a dumpster is not a lot of there's a lot of things that can happen to a dumpster. Like I've seen dumpsters in pretty bad condition. So yeah, I would rather live it either has to be like a house or a multi-unit building because yeah, I don't know. I have issues with it being very easy to know exactly where I am at all times. And if you have like a dumpster, it's like Oscar the Grouch. Where was
it,
he? He was always in that garbage can. You
yeah,
know where he
yep.
was.
That's exactly it. And when I was watching the YouTube video, the guy with the dumpster house, that's exactly what it was like. Like he had like a super tiny lot on the corner of a busy intersection. And I'm just like, so you live in this dumpster and like there's so many cars driving past at all times. It's like, how do you have any sense of privacy or like I don't even know. Like I that would just drive me nuts. I couldn't do it. Like, yeah, that's not the dumpster house on the corner of a busy street. That would, yeah, no. What about you,
Yeah.
Judd?
Nah, I don't. Unless I think I've grown to appreciate a certain amount of space now. So I like having at least a bedroom and then a separate room that's just mine. And I don't know that I could ever live comfortably without those two things being separate now, just because that's something I really like having. So
Yeah,
unless
same.
I was, yeah, unless I was literally, unless I had to, which I really can't think of a reason I would necessarily have to. Like, there's other options. There's definitely apartment buildings. I would feel more comfortable in an apartment building too. But yeah, that just seems, it seems too cramped.
So, since we all say we wouldn't do it, at what point would you do it? So, like, I guess like now, like two of us already have houses, so like this would just never happen unless we sold our houses and something happened. But like, let's say we're all renting in this situation, and then like something was happening like with the economy, and like rent just kept raising at like an exorbitant price. Like, at what point? And like, obviously, like right now, I think well actually, except for you, John. Well, like, let's just say we all have part-time jobs in this situation because it seems like none of us usually live our lives with a full-time job for the most part, except for you recently, John. Uh, but I guess correct me if I'm wrong. I would assume that you don't prefer to live your life with a full-time job per se. Is that true or no? Or you do prefer to live it with a
I
full-time
do,
job?
just a different job.
So you do like working like full time as opposed to part time?
Yeah, I do.
Oh, okay, interesting. So like I guess if you were alone in this scenario, would you happen to would you be more likely to have a full-time job or no job or a part-time job?
I think I'm more likely to have a full-time job.
What about you, Guda?
And so sorry, explain this to again. Like
You're just alone and in this alternate universe and
hmm
like there's no one that you're like responsible for. Like are you more likely to be found in this alternate universe with a full-time job or part time or no job. For me, I think
no, nothing would change.
so part time basically. You don't work full time, do you?
I would never choose to have a full-time job working
Yeah,
for someone else.
same,
I would have a
same.
full-time job if it's my like own thing, then yeah, I would do that. I have done
Yeah,
that. But no, I
yeah,
wouldn't
same.
work full-time for someone else.
Okay, so I guess how much work would it take for you where it's like if if you don't work this amount, I guess for you, John, you have more of a tolerance for like the amount of work it would seem since you would be okay with having a full time job. But I would say me and Gudo are about the same, where it's like I'd rather have like part time. Like I wouldn't necessarily like want to have no job. Like I do like having something to do, and I don't mind it. But yeah, part time is fair enough for me. So like I guess for me, if I had to have like if I had to work over 40 hours to support, like if I had no choice but to work like 45 plus hours every week to support just a one bedroom apartment that was like separate from like everything else, I think that's probably where I would cave, somewhere within the 45-hour a week range, where I would cave and say, okay, give me a tiny house in a dumpster. Like, what? So, yeah, my question would be, what point would be the caving point for you guys?
It
I
would
feel
have,
like that would
yeah.
never happen. I would much sooner just move in with a bunch of people than get a dumpster like studio. It makes no sense.
Get to get the dumpster studio. Okay,
Yeah.
so what amount of work would it take for you to have to move in with a bunch of people? Well, actually, what's like similar, I guess? Like how many people would it be similar conditions to a dumpster studio?
Holy shit. See, now well, it all depends because it depends on the space. If it's all like sectioned out like
Yeah, the
appropriately, it
split.
can like kind of be okay. But if you're like in a prison like block scenario, then like obviously it's not going to be comfortable.
Yeah, okay, let's say you in your scenario, you each have your own bath. It's just like your 1036 house. Like you each have your own bathroom or your own room, but you all share like common facilities.
Hmm.
So like
So you're asking him what would the conditions in the economy have to be for him to go back to college?
no. Well,
Yeah, I'll
no.
That's
do
what
it
it sounded
tomorrow.
like.
You said I would do it tomorrow, really? Yeah, I guess so. That's
I mean,
fair.
if it was like the exact, well,
So you didn't mind four
no,
people, or
no.
four? It was more than four people
I
actually. You
mean, as
guys
long as
had it
it was the
was like
people I
eight.
chose, though. If you're
Eight?
saying like,
No. What did you do
Yeah,
with
like
8 people?
it was like six. It was like
At
you.
1036 knows four
Yeah,
people. Who
no, there
who
was like
actually
six.
live there? Like so
yeah, they
yeah.
were on the lease, but I mean, at the
Right, they were
time,
on
it,
the
it was
lease.
like, yeah,
Just
Every
sometimes.
time I went there, it was a full house. I was like, man, we all just sleep here. I was like, all right. I was like, count me in for the week.
Yeah.
yeah.
Add me to the roster.
Oh, did I totally
That's
forgot that we
hilarious.
actually, yeah, we had other people stay there some at some point.
Like you
Yeah.
all had like, or a lot of you had like were in a relationship, so then they would be staying there, and then like you had other people who would just like sleep over and like basically be living there. Yeah, it was a fun house, man. That was
Yeah.
good.
Yeah.
What a life. No, I don't think I could go back to that.
Yeah, I same. It wouldn't take me 45 hours a week. For me, it would probably be like, would I if I was alone? Yeah, I guess if I had to work
I would
full
just work.
time
I
or
just
go
work
live
more.
in that situation, I would work part time and go live with four people
Nah, see,
than work
I
full
just
time
rather
and live
work
by
full
myself.
time and come home to
Well,
my own space.
so are you asking what would it take to work full time instead of living in that situation, right?
Kind of, yeah. That's pretty much exactly what I'm
Oh,
asking.
okay. Yeah, I think I would still do it if I get to choose like my roommates and everything.
What if
Yeah.
you didn't get to choose your roommates and it was just randos? Well, I mean, you got to choose them like reasonably, but you don't know them. Like,
And my choice is either I work 50 hours or do this.
or there is no choice. I'm just wondering what is the do this? At what point would you just choose the do this? Or the work 50 hours, I guess. Like, where's the breaking line?
Yeah, if I was working like if I was working more than 40 hours, then yeah, I'm gonna go find like people to live with.
Yeah, same. I would say like 40. 40 is my breaking point where it's like, screw this. I would rather just live with people and work less. So you would work, so how many hours would you work, John? Like,
Yeah,
would you
I was
work
gonna say
50
my
hours a week?
yeah, I'd say my upper limit is much higher than that. It's probably like in the
60?
70, like in the 70s or 80s.
70?
Yeah.
You would be willing
Wo-
to work
Working for
70
somebody
hours?
else.
If I like
That's
the
like
if I
almost
like
two jobs.
if I like the job, yeah.
Woo.
Mm, okay.
God
Because actually, I
damn,
mean, in the
dude.
beginning with Cielo, when I first started doing reporting, I put that much time into it, but I actually really liked it. So I did that on purpose. Like it wasn't like I was just being forced into stuff. I volunteered for some stuff, and then that's what produced me having to do more because I just got more work naturally from doing that. So yeah, it wasn't like I actually chose that, and I wasn't unhappy in the beginning. Like I actually really liked the work. So yeah, if I like the job, I could easily do it 70 to 80 hours a week.
I
I feel
agree.
like
Especially
I'm just not.
if I'm single, like that's the scenario, right? That you'd be single.
right,
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
I just
completely
haven't.
single.
I haven't been lucky enough to find any role that fulfills me in that way. That's the
Sure.
only reason
Yeah.
why.
And I was gonna say, I feel like that you probably would too if you thought about having a career like that you enjoyed that much, like obviously.
Hmm.
So yeah, so it wouldn't feel as much like work.
Yeah, I guess.
Yeah.
If I was single, right, I guess right. If I was like I don't even know what my dream job would be, like just like some research and development like team lead or something like that. Maybe more than a team lead, like a department head. Then yeah, I guess if that's the case and like I just got to do whatever the heck I wanted as long as I was like researching and like
Hmm.
exploring some new things, and I guess yeah, I could work maybe 60. I would still say like there's almost nothing on the planet that I want to do more than 60 hours a week, like including almost video games basically. So that's pretty crazy. Like, but that's pretty good. You've got quite the
I
I
I
don't
think
know, resilience
I
for
have the
that.
approach to most things, new things when I try them, to just really like lean into it the whole way. If it ever like even sort of interests me, I'll try to just really do that thing for a lot of time. So like remember when we started playing chess? Like I was on chess for probably 7 or 8 hours a day after we started playing. Because like I just really enjoyed learning to play the game. Like I don't have as much time now, obviously, but that's just how I stress test things. And then after a certain amount of time, like a month or so, I know whether it's gonna stick or not. It doesn't mean I'm always gonna
Yeah.
do it at that level. It just I feel like it's a way of really finding out the ins and outs of whatever the thing is in a short amount of time, so that you can like decide whether it makes sense to devote the larger blocks of time, like years, to, so really leaning into it.
Have you ever found something that's worth devoting years?
Yeah, investing for sure.
Actually, yeah, I would say I have been, yeah, investing has been
Yeah.
something I've been doing for years and years. That is true. I forgot about that.
Yep. Not
Yeah.
not to say that those are common things to find. They certainly aren't. But I figure if you try enough stuff, you'll eventually find something you like.
So, interesting. Well, that answers that question.
Yeah, that's a good question
Now
though.
the next question: how much would you pay a prostitute
Oh,
to not just kidding.
Jesus.
$1. That's the answer.
Oh yeah, I don't know if anyone here watches any sports, but congrats to the Denver Nuggets. They won the NBA Finals.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Yay.
The Nuggets?
Yeah. Yeah, I don't even know who's on that
What?
team, do you?
Literally. If you would have asked me who the Denver, like what sport the Denver Nuggets played for, I would have guessed like hockey or like mining or something.
Mining. Mining. Mining.
Oh man, yeah, I don't watch enough sports. I don't know. I need to change that. If Milwaukee gets a professional soccer team, I'll definitely watch that. There's no fucking way I wouldn't watch that. But that's about it, probably.
Wait, so do either of you know the details about this? But I saw that Messi is going to be playing in MLS. Is that real?
No way. He
I,
probably
I don't
that
know.
that sounds completely believable. That's like definitely a trend for good players to come play. I think does Ronaldo play for ML? No, he doesn't play
No, he
for
doesn't
MLS.
play for MLS.
He retired in Europe or something. But yeah, that sounds believable. 100% believable.
I guess I
Wait, Matt,
didn't even
you said
realize.
Ronaldo's retired?
He's not retired, but he is like he's in that phase of his career. It's like when Brett Favre went to the Jets and now how Aaron Rodgers is also going to the Jets. That's where that's where he is. Like like the peak of their career is done. Like you're going to the Jets, really?
Yeah, he
Like
is. He is actually. Yep, Messi's going to
It's real?
Inter Miami.
yeah, exactly. So you're gonna go to Inter Miami, really? Like you're fucking messy. But like that's exactly it. Like it's on the phase
Yeah,
next to
it's on.
retirement.
It's the old people league.
Yeah.
I didn't even realize that he retired. When did that happen?
I don't think Ronaldo retired.
Just now. Once
No,
he moves
Messi.
Oh,
Once he moves to
he's saying
MLS,
he's
that's
saying
the
going to
market.
MLS is the retirement.
Yeah, isn't it?
No,
Yeah.
no, I feel like retirement is like you stop.
I mean, like, yeah, there
But
is that. But, like, there is no peak. He's not peaking at MLS. There's
No, no,
nothing that's
absolutely not.
behind him.
Yeah, yeah.
so he's retired then.
Yeah.
No, he's not.
That's
He's
Yeah.
not retired. God,
he's retired.
is he
Because
really not that good?
it doesn't make sense to me to play in MLS. If you're not retired, then like wouldn't you still be trying to win like
Right.
whatever like the actual premier like championship?
It also could be about money. Like, you might, like, I know that the people who are trying to advertise MLS are willing to spend large amounts of money to get those stars to come across. Like, that's really their draw right now. It's not about developing talent and like just organically swimming up fans. Like, nope. It's just, hey, can we get any of the stars from over there to come over here? And that's basically what's happening. So I feel like there has to be something in it for Messi, like financially, to move.
Yeah, I'm sure they paid him decent. I don't think they're matching even close to what he was making
You
in
don't think
Europe.
so?
I highly doubt. I don't
Messi
think MLS has the
MLS
capability to do
pay.
that.
You don't think
Not
You don't think Americans got that money?
No, not that
No.
much money. They can't keep up. Like we don't have enough of a fan base to support that. And in one team to pay his salary and match it, there's no fucking
All right, so
way.
what would you have to
But
Like
I
the rest
guess?
think
of the
What would you
league
have
would
to
have to play
guess?
for free.
All right, what would you?
right. The entire league would have to pool their money together, and then the rest of the league would have to be volunteers. Yeah.
What would you
Yeah.
guess that the salary would be for that then? Oh God.
The one he would be making in America,
Yeah.
I would guess like I don't know, like 200 million. No, that's way too much. I'm gonna say 150 a year.
I doubt
No,
he's
that's
even playing for a salary. I bet he's playing for like stock in like the team or something like that.
actually yeah. But I'm gonna say even lower. I'm gonna say 90 million a year. Yeah.
This is saying like his actual salary from like per year was in the 70s, so 70 million.
Oh, his actual salary was only 70?
Uh-huh.
Oh,
Only.
damn.
Yeah, a
Well,
year.
Ronaldo's
But
was
he's
like
getting
200 or something like that.
but he's getting yeah, I don't think I think Ronaldo makes more. I don't know why,
Yeah,
but
they always paid Messi less. They're just like, you're from Argentina. It's fine. The
I
money
think
goes further
I
there.
think they play the fashion angle with Ronaldo a lot. Like the pretty boy
Yeah.
angle with him. So he probably sells better on some certain posters to certain demographics.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah. And then
So
but
you're saying that
oh,
like
so wait, his MLS pay is said that it could be worth anywhere from 50 to 75. So I mean, someone in the US has got some money.
Yeah,
I
that's
mean
everything.
it'd
They
be in
had
Miami if it's anywhere.
they had to
That's
save up
true.
so long to afford this. There's like we've been saving our salaries for years. Now we can finally
Okay.
afford it.
So he has a $30 million signing bonus. This is from this weird website. So who the fuck knows if this is true? But this says it includes $30 million signing bonus and then like cuts of profits from image rights, including jersey sales, that could bump his annual salary to 75.
Yeah,
So
that sounds
basically, he's
about
getting a
right.
cut of any jersey sales. So anyone who buys a jersey, he's just making just a little royalty off the top.
That's funny.
Mm,
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's an ideal place to
yeah.
retire. You get to be rich in America. Like if there's anywhere you want to be rich, it's here because you get to take most advantage of everyone else. And like it's still like a first world country. So like that's pretty good.
Yeah.
America.
Yeah,
Yeah, there's
America.
like literally no incentive for him to help that team win the championship. He's only there to like make money, like business endeavors.
Yeah,
Endeavors.
definitely. Yeah, he can like put his retirement in like American stocks and like basically have no tax taken out or something like that. He's like good, but in Europe, like they'd be like, "Oh, you're getting taxed on that." So it
Isn't
makes sense.
like isn't Florida one of those states where they tax nothing?
Yeah, and that's exactly right. Yeah, the tax is like lower or something. He's like, oh, this guy, Ron DeSantis. He seems like a real genius. Oh man.
Yeah. DeSantis is Hispanic, no?
Wait,
Yeah.
wait. So he's also.
He
Oh,
knows.
oh, Apple is part of this. So Apple signed a 10-year deal to stream MLS. So I guess that was like
Oh,
one of
okay.
their selling points to Messi. Like, hey, like Apple's behind us
Oh,
now. We're gonna
dude.
bring MLS to everyone.
Dude, we gotta talk about this. So Apple Vision.
Oh
Clearly,
yeah,
you guys saw it,
I
right?
did. Yep.
Like, no, I don't think I did actually.
You haven't
Like,
seen
I
Apple
kind of heard
Vision?
about it, but like, I didn't
Mm.
actually see it.
It's
Hearing you
it's
say that Apple is part of it makes me think that that is totally an angle that they're
oh,
going
of
for. Like,
course, absolutely.
like
Okay,
you
yeah.
hear, like you put your headset on, be like front row at
Yeah,
an
so
MLS game.
for those who don't know, maybe listening to this, Apple Vision is just it's Apple's attempt at an augmented reality headset. So the main differences are it's it looks like an Apple product. It's got a lot of glass and fancy looking metals and shit. Lots of cameras. Very
Like, it
expensive.
looks like ski goggles,
It
kind of.
does. It's $3,500, or it's going to be when it comes out next year. And it sounds like it's mostly only geared around working and like watching content. Because basically the two things you can do is like you're walking around with it and like it's showing you what the cameras see as like and then putting it on your eyes in 4K to basically show you what you're seeing around you. And then the other people are seeing a reflection of your face from inside the actual headset. Not it's not a see-through, but it just looks like a see-through.
Yeah, it
Oh,
looks crazy,
really?
man.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
it's not a see-through, it just looks
It's
like a see.
not.
You know
Yeah.
how stupid that is? So, okay, so you cover your eyes with this thing, and
Mhm.
then you have these cameras that like see for you, and then like cameras feed what it can
Yeah.
see into a screen, and then
Yeah.
you can see the screen with your eyes. Like,
Yeah.
that's brilliant.
Yeah.
Like, no,
Yeah.
like,
That's
have you ever tried just taking the cameras away and then you can see just fine? Like, that
so
doesn't make any fucking sense.
so I guess the reason that there's so many cameras in it is because part of part of the headset is like there's no there's no controls. So like anything in the menu, it's all eye tracking. So like all the cameras are geared around being able to track exactly where your eyes are looking. So if you look at a menu option and then like tap with your fingers, as long as you're tapping anywhere near where the thing can see with the cameras, it'll pick up that you tapped your finger and that's how you select it. So basically all the cameras are is to track everything you're doing around you while keeping you like within this little field of vision. It's definitely
And then
going to be how people start like doing things in the future, and that's really scary because because man, no one's gonna be walking around outside anymore.
I mean,
I
we've
think they
had these.
will though.
I don't know, man. Well, yeah, so like they did feature something in the demo that basically said like take this outside and like it was a lady sitting with it and she was looking out at a lake and the lake was really far and she put up a movie right over the water and it was just like a normal screen and she expanded it and it went out 100 feet. Apple is saying that you can watch a movie on a 100-foot screen if you have enough space. Like it'll project it out 100 feet. Like
Like, what do you mean? Like in the glasses,
yeah,
though?
like
It
but
won't be
it'll
like
but
for other people to see.
no 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 other people won't see it, but when you have the glasses on, it'll look like it's 100 feet on the actual like view of the world that you're seeing.
Wait, wait, wait. So they said if you have enough space, this will work?
Yeah, so if you're outside, if you're just outside,
Why
it
would
just
this not work in like a small room?
bec-
It's just in your
because it's
goggles.
because it's only going to project the size of the actual walls that it sees apparently. So like if I'm in this room, like the wall, my back wall, like that's the tallest that it'd be able to go because it recognizes that that's the ceiling.
Jesus.
Why wouldn't I just go outside and look up?
Yeah,
Like the
yeah,
sky is an
man.
infinite screen.
Because the world because the world isn't going to be built like that anymore.
So they can make it so you can project a big screen outside, but they can't make
Yeah.
me feel like I'm not stuck in my closeted sized room because the economy has
Yeah,
made
the
renting
economy.
any sort of like house or apartment impossible. Just like, oh, this works, but you have to have a lot of room. Like,
Yeah,
God
man.
damn it, this
You
is not
gotta.
what we need right
Well,
now.
clearly Apple is not worried about broke people with this product. I mean, they priced it at $3,500 fucking dollars, so
Yeah, that's
But
true.
it's just first generation.
they
Like
don't
this is
care.
just the first one. Remember
Yeah,
the first what was it? Fuck.
iPhone.
I forgot the name of the thing now because it's gone. iPod.
Oh, iPod.
Oh
Yeah,
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 I
that
do.
thing was a fucking brick.
It was, but it was revolutionary.
yeah, it
Yeah.
was revolutionary.
Yeah. And then the first
What was
iPhone,
it?
like I remember watching, I've watched that keynote on YouTube recently, and my God, that thing was slow. Like by today's standards, holy shit, they had actually had it buffering. Like when he was showing maps, it was literally just buffering.
God damn, that's
Hmm.
terrible.
And this was
It'd be
like,
like
man, and
garbage.
everyone was like, yeah, a touchscreen. Oh my God.
Yeah. Now, if you drop like one frame on stream, they're like, "Man, this is garbage.
Yeah,
My
this is
PC
straight.
sucks.
This is
This
straight
game is
garbage.
trash." Like,
Yeah,
Literally, yep.
I'm sitting
garbage.
here like, "Are you serious? This is
Like
I
you
just
drop
can't
the
even
Yeah,
frame,
believe
like
it."
you can't even
yeah.
see that unless you stop the video, zoom in, and like slow it down. Like, see that? It skipped right there. Like, oh my
Yeah, like,
god, like
dude, I got Donkey Kong 64 and I was crying because it was so revolutionary.
Wait,
literally,
wait,
literally.
we never got your opinions on Apple Vision. So I think say mine before you guys say yours. I think that it's gonna be pretty cool because I actually want one and like I just want to see what that looks like and experience it just because it sounds kind of weird and kind of cool, but yeah, I want to try it. But then like also it just makes me sad because I know that the world is going into the direction of like just not interacting with anything but like screens. And to a certain extent, I can understand that, but I don't know. I just have had more of an appreciation lately, especially like watching Mila interact with nature just for the simpler things. So I hope that they don't completely miss out on that because I don't know. There's something for it to be said for it. But yeah.
Interesting.
Otherwise, I think it'll be cool. It'll make other people's headsets even better too. Like as people compete, they're definitely gonna bring out this exact same type of
That's
stuff.
true. I feel like I have a VR headset already, and it's heavy. Like it's cool, but like it's just heavy to like after like an hour, like you can feel the weight of that thing like on your head,
Hmm.
and like I feel like until they fix that, I don't know if like it can ever be something that's like used or worn all the time. But and I haven't tried like this Apple Vision or anything, and I'll have to see how much it weighs. But they really need to work on getting like the weight of the size and the weight of these things down,
Yeah, I heard
so you
Apple's was
can
heavy.
wear it. Oh, really?
Yeah,
Yeah. I
I
think
heard Apple's was
like the
heavy.
technology is just not there to miniaturize like
Hmm.
all
All the
the
components.
computation needed. Yeah, so we'll see. Maybe they'll figure out a way to like stream like most of the computer stuff from like a device nearby, and then like you won't need all that in your headset or something. Who knows? But yeah,
That
it'll
just
get
sounds like a
there.
video game with a headset, like an Xbox with
Yeah,
with a
right.
headset.
They have cameras that show you in front of you so you can see. I So what does it do that my eyes can't do? Oh, it
It
showed
gives
me a
you
big
like,
screen
It can show you
at eight.
it can show you apps. Like it looked the way it looked like it was an extension of like a very simple iPhone base. Like it had messages and work related apps like Excel and shit like that, like mail, that kind of thing. And then obviously the all the content streaming apps like Disney. Like Disney did this whole deal with them apparently because the CEO was at the keynote talking about how we're going to show so many wonderful movies on Disney Plus with this headset or whatever. So yeah, it's basically for content and work. That's what it seems like. So yeah, I don't think it's meant to replace your eyes, but it's meant to like place make you feel like you're placing like their apps out in your actual world, even though like you're just seeing it through the headset.
nah, man. I'm gonna continue to be the doomsday conspiracy guy and say this is just a way to buy the real estate that the advertisers can't actually buy right now physically. Like you can't actually buy just like air, but now you can. Like if once everybody starts wearing these, it's like, oh yeah, like I need to put my floating ad at this intersection because that's where the most cars go through. As soon as
That's
people like start
that's
wearing these
true.
headsets, like I don't know.
Yeah, I mean that'll make it
Can
more
you
affordable.
can you imagine a world where everyone's wearing some type of? I would imagine for it to be
Yeah.
mass adopted though, like Valero said, it would have to be much smaller. Like we'd have to have something that could do that through either a combination of like a little thing in our pocket and like a contact lens or something, or
Yeah.
like something like that. It would have to be smaller. Like it cannot be something that straps around my whole forehead. Like that's too much.
Yeah, I
It's
think
got like the
it's gonna
straps and
continue
stuff.
as like the headset, then it's gonna be glasses, then it's gonna be contact lenses,
Well, it'll be like
and
the
then it's
phone
gonna
then.
be yeah, and then it's gonna be like eye replacements. Like
Yeah,
you can just
microchip.
get
Like
yours
get
switched out.
chipped.
Yeah.
Yeah, did you hear Elon's? Did we talk about this? How Elon's uh brain microchip implant got approved by the FDA for human testing?
Mm-mm.
No, I didn't
You
hear that.
didn't?
Mm-mm.
Oh, yeah, which I thought was like so he has this like microchip implant that he's been working on, and not him, it's just like some dudes that he hired or paid money to. Um, but same thing. That apparently like the whole point is like you can interact with like your phone and like stuff or whatever like with like the microchip and like yeah it got approved it got approved for testing which is crazy because um like CBD and marijuana isn't even approved for federal testing yet, but they approved this, which is hilarious. And then like also like during the like he was doing like these trials on like apes and stuff like a couple months ago before it got through this phase and like two of the apes like ripped their own eyes out or something like that because like of how bad something was and it's like okay yeah that looks pretty good, let's go ahead and pass this along for human testing. And I'm just wondering like who in their right mind
You
is
don't
going to
think
be dumb enough
you don't think
to
they've
actually
changed
put one of
it?
these in their
Wait,
brain?
wait, you don't think they've changed the formula at all since seeing the chips rip their eyes out? They're just like they just wrote on a piece of paper like looks good. Okay.
Yeah.
And then it's like check.
Like perfect. Exactly what we're looking
Yeah,
for.
perfect. Yeah, they were just
Like,
like, this is exactly what we were expecting. On to the humans.
perfect. Now let's get this in the
Wow,
site.
you really
Yeah,
must
anyone who
you must
trusts
really hate
Elon
Elon
Musk
Musk.
with a chip in your brain, I just feel like you deserve anything that happens to you at that point. Like, because something will, like, there's no fucking way anyone on this earth can make something like a brain implant that's just gonna work for the masses and not completely like kill you, basically. Like, there's just no way that's gonna, and it's connected to the internet on top of that. Like, not only is it gonna get hacked for sure, and it's stuck in your brain now, but you have to somehow trust that every single point of the manufacturing point process was pristine to the point where it like wouldn't kill you or ever malfunction. And then on top of that, you need to have a major surgery just to get it like taken in and out. Like that's not even close to worth it. Like, and then like, what if someone like does like an EMP? Like, are you gonna die? Like, that's just like no. At no point would I ever put any sort of electronics inside my
So
brain.
so what
Like,
if you're
not my brain.
what is there any chance you would if you were like brain dead?
No.
No?
Brain dead?
Yeah, like
I'd
let's
be
say you're
brain dead.
what's what
Yeah,
I'm
how could
saying
you
like
even decide?
well, I'm saying like let's assume that these like chips in this hypothetical, let's assume that a chip could develops enough where we can like use the chip and some like combination of medicine to bring you back to the point where you can interact with us again. But
I
obviously
mean,
the only
oh,
way you're going to continue to talk to us and like have brain function is if this chip is continuing to stimulate the parts of your brain that were deadened by whatever the fuck happened to you.
I would
So
I
would you
would
do it
agree
then?
to that. I would agree to that only if I had a way to turn it off
So maybe
myself.
those are the type of people he's going to go after for testing. People who have no other choice.
That's true. Yeah.
Because
People
like
are like,
for
"Hey, you seem pretty fucked up right now. You want to
right,
try
yeah.
this
I
chip out?"
mean,
And
for them
you'll be
though, like if you thought to yourself, if you had the forethought to think like, okay, if I ever get into an accident and there's a chance to save my life with some kind of freak crazy
fine.
surgery, like I give the right to my spouse or whoever to make the decision to do it or not. Like people can do that. Like I actually had to we did our wills recently. We actually had to write all that kind of shit out, like what we were accepting of, who made the decisions. Like you could if you did that you basically have nothing to lose. Like if you're completely brain dead, you're not experiencing anything anyway that you know of.
I mean, there are things that are worse than death.
So do you think there's a version of that I guess the only version I can think of that would be worse than being brain dead is like being with a chip that just puts you in perpetual pain for like
And then you want to
always.
rip your eyes out
Yeah, then
like
you
those
just
two
want to be
monkeys
dead
did.
anyway. But then I would just like you said, if I had that and that was happening, as long as I have the option to just blow my brains out, okay, fine. Just take the chip out and let me be done.
Oh
Because
man.
yeah, then it's
But
not worth
it's
it.
like it makes sense. It definitely makes a lot more sense. Like a ton more sense if it could bring a brain dead person back to life or like restore really any type of functionality to like a damaged brain. Then I'd be like, yeah, like I would take that risk and I don't blame people
Yeah.
who are looking for like a cure to take that risk. But all he's advertising to do is that you can hit like the next button on your YouTube playlist, like with your mind. Like that's not even close to worth it. Like,
So
and it has like
I gotta
Wi-Fi
gotta
and
start
stuff.
somewhere.
Oh,
so I want to be devil's advocate for a second and ask you guys both a question about this. Like, what do you think the societal like what do we gain from bringing people back from the brink like that? Like, how much do you think someone that was literally brain dead and now is back will improve society?
I think it would actually make society so much worse. I've actually thought a lot about this, and I feel like immortality is almost immoral, like in a way. At least with how humans are now. Unless like you are outcast from society at a certain point, like if you're allowed to like function and like still obtain and withhold all your like wealth and your infinite lifetime of like amassment of wealth and like whatnot, I just feel like that's not helping anyone. Like could you imagine if I don't even know if like even if like any of the old presidents were still alive that like before there was like a presidential term limit like imposed, like if FDR was still alive he would just still be our president, and like I'm sure he would not like be cool with like black people and like Black Lives Matter. I mean, he was very barely okay with black people. He was like okay, but like I don't think he is nearly on the terms of like what we expect from like human behavior today, and especially our leaders. And so like if all of those same people were just like perpetually in power, like that would be a nightmare, I feel like, in my opinion. So I think like it's kind of good that we all die eventually. And I feel like if we ever did find a way to stop us from dying, I feel like there should be like a rule where like you have to lose like you have to give up like a good amount of like your wealth, and you're not allowed to hold like any position of power or anything. Like you basically have to go just like be a hermit and just like live like don't mess with people somewhere. I feel like if you are immortal, which no one's gonna do that. So I just feel like it might as well just be illegal.
So, like you're saying, you'd only be allowed to have a certain amount of like net worth and power during like these certain like ages. Like you can only
Yeah,
do it from like 30 to 60, and then after that, you have to live under a certain means.
yeah. I feel like that should keep society going reasonably.
What about you, John?
What's the question?
Do you think there is a benefit to bringing people back from the brink like that? Like, do you
To
think,
society? I mean, probably not.
yeah, yeah.
You
I
said probably not. Is that what you said?
Yeah, probably not.
Oh, okay. Well, I almost wasn't expecting that.
You thought I was gonna say yeah?
Kind of. A little bit.
So I
No,
just wonder, like,
I mean it's the
what is
benefits
the
to them.
point of?
The benefit is to them, like to society. Like we usually take great, I feel like care in things that we can like make money off of. So I guess the societal benefit is that someone would probably pay for whatever there is to bring them back if they for because for them it's their only existence, right? So like for society, people dying and living, they'll go on and society will just look a little different each day. But for you as a person, you only have your one life. So I feel like there's a lot of ends that I would go to like keep myself alive, and I'd probably pay a lot of money to keep myself alive. So I don't know that society benefits. I just think society is formed by the things that most of us care about. So that's going to be always at the forefront is like how we extend our experience here.
Yeah. And I just feel like, I don't know, it bothers me and scares me that like projects like this often like to try and like latch on to the idea of humanity and like saving people like that are like from the brink, and it like gets people to buy into it. But then I ask a question like this and everyone's like, actually it doesn't really help to help those people. Like, as sad as that is to say, it's like if you bring someone back from like, I don't know, being 78% brain dead, do you think that person's like gonna go on and perform brain surgery or be a
No,
rocket scientist? I'm
Maybe.
not saying
no.
that those things are like what is gonna like help our society like thrive, but like what is the top level of impact as a whole besides just for that person and their family? And it's like that's great, but like if you're gonna say that, yeah, we're making all this technology that could have like a cataclysmic impact on all of humanity because we want to help people. It's like, but are you actually helping people? I don't know.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, at a
Like it's just
certain
a
point,
nice
just gotta
thing.
let them die.
Yeah, it's just a nice thing to say. So then like now I want to ask like after that. So like after you help people, what are you really gonna do? Because that's what you're really actually doing this for.
Yeah, that's true. So, like, what if it got to the point where, like, immortality was so easy to obtain that they literally couldn't outlaw it? Like, you can just find, like any old dude in his basement could whip up the formula to immortality and, like, give it to him or anyone he wanted. And, like, at that point, it's outlawed. So, like, first off, would you do it if literally everyone you knew was, like, basically doing it? And second off, actually, I guess there is no second off. I was gonna ask, like, would you guys be okay with like laws that forces you to like hermit yourself, like once you, if you do get immortality, like after you get to a certain age or a certain amount of like money or something like that?
Like I just can't speak to anyone.
I mean, you can speak to people, but you can't like. I feel like there should be something that's stopping you from like starting a political uprising if you're like 1,000 years old. And like everyone like you're getting you're rising up is like much younger. I feel like it's almost like you're taking advantage of them. Like, as if you're 1,000 years old, I'm assuming you're gonna be way smarter than like all these like other young people. And I just feel like that's just dangerous. Like, you could just be like, you know what? I'm just gonna pull out my god tricks and then stage a coup and then just completely destroy society for a little bit.
Wait, here. So you're assuming that the person who lives longer is going to be so infinitely smarter that they're. I
I mean,
don't.
as long as your memory doesn't go,
I
you
don't
should be.
know. I don't know that I would say that's necessarily true. Like I think if I could
Like, your data
imagine
set would be massive.
it, it would, but it would depend on how you utilized it. Like that just assumes that the person who lives long is productive, and I don't know that I would assume that of most people. In the right hands, I think you're probably right. Like if Elon or like someone who's in the political sphere who's like already had some type of influence would had that ability, then yeah, I would say they would have maybe a leg up. But I don't think the average person would be
But
that
after a
that that
thousand years, even,
no, I don't think that person would be that dangerous at all.
I think after 1,000 years, you would figure out a way if you wanted to be. You'd be like, you know what? I've noticed
Right, if
decade
you
after
wanted to.
decade, the
Yeah.
same fucking thing every time.
Yeah, if you
And then you
wanted to
just try
be,
it.
but I don't think most people want to be.
I feel like after 1,000 years, there's a good chance most people would try almost anything because it's just so long. And maybe not 1,000, but if you're living forever, then like you can just say, okay, after 10,000 years then, or 20,000. Like eventually, you're gonna get off your old couch and be like, you know what? I'll try something new today. Like you, there's no way you would just continue
You know,
doing that, or normally people would do that.
You
for a
don't
thousand
you
years
don't
and
think
never once
living
do anything different.
you don't think living 1,000 years would have a plethora of like experiences? Like I can't the world 1,000 years ago, if someone was living then and living now, you don't think just being a normal person, they've lived like several different types of lives? Like it's not like it was the couch wasn't around necessarily the same way 1,000 years ago. Like even that mundane thing has changed a lot. So just like the way people lived 1,000 years ago to now, that there's so much wrapped into that alone. I don't know that you'd get that bored that quickly. I think if you knew you were gonna live, you'd actually just have more time to experience like a crap ton of shit that most people don't have the time for. Because like if you're just immortal, it really doesn't matter how much you eat or drink. It's just like more based on your comfort. So so you could basically spend your entire life if you can find enough currency just going all over the place and really just getting yourself into all types of shenanigans with I mean,
Yeah, that's
consequences,
exactly my point,
but
pretty
not
much.
the ultimate consequence. I don't know that normal people would think, all right, let's just overthrow.
I feel like it wouldn't take much. Like if you were around for a thousand years and you knew exactly what to say to people to get people to like, okay, like let's say you had a new Hitler who popped up and you're like, oh, I know for sure I can change the minds of all these people if I told them this like few things and then they would overthrow Hitler. Like that's a coup. Like, and I'm sure the ruling government of Hitler or whatever would not like that. And like obviously in that situation, it would be a good thing that he started the coup. But like just like he started it under good intentions, there could equally I feel like there's just as many good people as there are bad people. So there's just an equal chance of someone being like, okay, I want to start a coup on this government for
I,
a less
I
moral
I
reason.
don't disagree
I
with
feel
you.
like
I
I
just
feel
don't think
like
people are
you're
that motivated.
yeah, and I wanted to I feel like you're describing the Christian Antichrist or the devil.
Like, what do you
Like
mean?
that's what that person is. The person who lives for 1,000 years and then decides to like manipulate everyone
I
just for
mean,
the
like,
hell of it.
yeah, yeah, I feel like that's pretty common. Like, yeah, I feel like there's a lot
You
of
feel
people
it?
like that. Like, look at how many people have ruled our government for the past 100 years, and like how many of them were exactly those types of people.
I
Oh,
think for the
okay.
same reason
Okay, so
that
your version of a lot is just compared to like the total number of people who have had power. Is what you're saying. Because when the way you were talking about it, I thought you were talking about like the whole population. Like you think that out of all the people, that like half of them or so would be bad, or like, but
Yeah, I guess
to
that's
the
true.
government, like out of the total population, the amount of people who like, if you take the entire government for the whole like all of our existence, it's still like a very very small percentage of the people.
So what does that mean?
I'm basing my thing on that. I feel like the people who have the motivation to do what it takes to climb up just government ranks for one lifetime, let alone stay there for several, is like, it, I don't think
But
that
you don't
that
have
list
to
is
stay
very
there for
long.
several. You can not be there for like 100 lifetimes, and then you just choose one part of one lifetime to do it. Then
But
that's all it takes.
I don't think it's that. I don't think even with 1,000 years of knowledge, it's as simple as just like, okay, this year I'm gonna rule the government. Like I think it would take several years to get infiltrated at that level.
I feel like
That I think
if
that might
you
have been
were the
true.
only one who was 1,000 years old or amongst the only people, you probably could pretty easily.
Okay,
But
I
if
guess we
everyone
just
else was
disagree on
your
that
age
then.
also, you probably couldn't. I just feel like, yeah, everyone older than me is usually much smarter and more experienced. Isn't that just like a general like thing?
I don't believe that's true. No,
yeah, I don't
You
think
don't
so.
think that's true?
no, not
Interesting.
at all.
I definitely believe that's true. So you just don't. So you think you're smarter than like, or
No,
just
no,
as
no, no,
smart
no,
as most old people?
no, no. Don't misunderstand me. I'm not saying I think one or the other is true. I just don't. I'm just not convinced that what you said is true. I don't know if it's one way or the other. Maybe you're right. I have no idea. But I've not seen anything to make me believe that like older people are necessarily smarter. I just don't know.
Interesting. Okay.
Yeah, I don't think length of time being alive necessarily
Yep.
gives you just instant intelligence.
Yep.
It depends on like how you spend that time.
Exactly. Yeah. Definitely agree with that.
And yeah, I would say most people spend it doing something, which
I
would
don't.
give them intelligence doing something.
I don't think
I
so.
think
Not
there are
anymore. It
several.
used to be that
Yeah,
way.
that might have been the case. Yeah, I agree. I think if you gave most people several lifetimes, there are certain things that they would not be able to figure out, even with all of that time.
I mean, some people, sure, yeah,
No, I think that's
but
most. I believe that's most people. That's just my opinion of people.
I guess so. I feel like, and there's no one like with enough time, any idiot can figure out how to detonate a nuclear bomb. Like, if you give them enough time, like, you just have to read all the books, and as long as your memory is intact, eventually you will learn how to be a nuclear scientist. That's just my theory. I don't see why that
Yeah,
wouldn't work.
with enough time, sure, any one person could eventually be the person who is bad enough and motivated enough to eventually do that. I don't know what you do about that though. Like if you're just a civilization with this person living in it, like what do you, what do you? I don't understand. Like what you're
You
saying? It's
outcast
dangerous.
them.
You
Yeah,
outcast
that.
them. So you wait. So you think this person's smart enough to overthrow the government within a year, but you don't think they're smart enough to get around being outcasted?
Right, that's the thing. The entire like all the laws would have to be like made pretty
But
much as
the
soon as
way
immortality
I was
is
gonna say it,
invented. You
the way
got
you're talking, yeah, I was gonna say the way you're talking. If this person's lived for any more than a few lifetimes, the civilization that's there now is already fucked. That it sounds like that's what you're saying. Like if
yeah,
they
if
get to a
yeah,
thousand
there's no
years, there's nothing
way
you can
they
do,
can
right?
make that law if there were already people 1,000 years. Like it would have to be made immediately. Like because right, the longer in my the way I see it is the longer these people live, the stronger and more influence they are able to gain
Okay.
essentially. So like
So you
the
believe
less
that people
likely you're going to be able to change any laws against them.
So you basically believe that if people were immortal, they would be on like DBZ scales. Like if they just kept training, it doesn't matter how incremental it is, it's going to just be a compiling effect no matter what.
Yeah, I would assume so. Unless there's some sort of like physical limitation to like how much information a human brain can hold, which we've never discovered that yet, which maybe
No.
there is, then that would put like
Yeah,
a hard limit on it. But if
yeah.
there's not, then I would assume as long as you can remember everything, you would only be more, you would only get smarter and smarter. Like you might not be able to be physically better, like or anything, but
Yeah, I
as
was
far
gonna
as
say
strategy or anything
in this
mentally,
immortality, do I stop like does my body also stop aging at a certain point? Because that also limits what I can do and not do.
I'm guessing so. I'm guessing it stops aging, or at
Okay.
least gets to a point where you're like
Like maybe it just hits optimal
mobile.
like peak age and wisdom years all at once, and then it just stops there. It's just like, okay, this is your optimal form. Just stay like this forever now.
So that
That's
would be pretty crazy. Like if you were just
that's
like 30 or 40 forever, or like
Mm-hmm.
20, 34 somewhere in there.
Mm-hmm.
That would be crazy. That would be terrifying, actually. And there's
that's
just
something
like
I
kids, like,
wanted.
oh, look at this kid. Oh, he's 1,000 years old. Like Jesus Christ, like this guy's a fucking psycho.
That's something I wanted to ask, like related to the Apple Vision thing. Like, do you think that the human brain like isn't developed enough or isn't going to develop fast enough to like keep up with all these like new like inputs and information? Like how you're saying, like does the human brain just like only have a certain amount of space? Like with like does our processor have enough cores to add AR? Like I almost feel like it doesn't. I feel like
It'll
we're already kind of overloaded with social media and everything.
it'll either have to evolve or we'll die. Just how it
I
goes.
feel like the younger kids will pick it up easier, but older people, they're not evolved enough. So yeah, I totally think it is like a kind of an evolution thing. And I think, yeah, their kids, like the generation, what's the new one? I don't even know what the new one is right now, but they're like great grandkids. I'm assuming they'll be able to pick up AR like literally nothing, like as if they were meant to be born with it, essentially. That's what I would assume. So, yeah, the
Interesting.
far future, I'm assuming all humans are going to be like, everyone is like
So
Yeah.
you
attached to
think so you
technology.
think we just have like the capacity in our brains to add that already? We're just not using it
N-
yet?
No, I think with each new generation, you gain the ability to like rewire your brain to adapt to like
Hmm.
whatever your surroundings are. And
Yep.
since we're making the surroundings of the new generation more AR and more like
Yep.
input, then when you're younger and you're still adapting and building up your brain, like those people are gonna get it. And then on top of that, you're gonna pass that like built up brain structure down to your children, so they'll automatically be better at it when they're born. And
Yep.
then they get to build on that. That's how I'm guessing it kind of works from the way science kind of explains it to me.
Yeah, I
So
agree completely. And a good example of that is like Mila with an iPad. Like she works it as if she's been using it for several years and she's had it for a year. Like, but just because those pathways got connected early, she expects when she touches something on a screen for it to do something. So like for her, when she sees our work computers and they have buttons and like my personal one that I use for school, she thinks like they're really cool because it's a novelty to her. Like actual buttons are like, oh, like what is this? It makes a noise. That's cool because she's used to dealing with
that's
screens. So
funny.
yeah, it really is like whatever they start out with, like that's just the norm for them.
So in the future, they're going to be looking back at us like, look at all these people before they were putting brain implants in. Isn't it
Mm,
crazy? They
isn't
would just
that
live their
crazy?
life like just
Living their
ready
life
to die at
talking and
any
not
point, and
just
then no one can do anything.
yeah, they were just like using their mouths to communicate when they just could be talking telepathically. Like, why would you ever do that? God,
Yeah, crazy.
I haven't opened my
So do
mouth in seven
you
years.
so do you think that the human brain right now in its current form has the capacity to survive in either like the wild savannah or like the utopian future of Star Trek?
I
Just
feel like
depending on like what happens when you're learning.
Yeah, Wild Savannah. Yeah, just because we have foresight. Like I like if
I
you
mean,
if
I would die for sure. I
I don't know.
personally, yes.
Like
I
during
think I
this
could.
conversation,
I
I
think I
think
could make it.
actually that might be like the truth. Because I saw a story recently that like some people like survived like some kind of like
Yeah, 40
crash
days in the jungle.
in the rainforest, and it's like they were kids and they just survived. How?
Mhm.
Yeah, the 13-year-old, I guess, like, luckily knew, like, what kind of plants and flowers to eat or whatever. The story was so sad. Apparently, their mom's was alive for the first
Mhm.
4 days, and then she died. And, like, right before she died, she's like, "You have to go. You have to find civilization." She's like, "Go. Go on without me." And then they went, and, like, that's how, like, they got lost and all this crazy stuff. But yeah, like, that story was crazy. But yeah, the 13-year-old, there was a 1-year-old, there's a 13-year-old, like a 12-year-old, like a 4-year-old and a 1-year-old. A 1-year-old survived 40 days in the jungle. And yeah, it was all like we don't even know the story, but like all of us here know that 13-year-old, like it was him, like or her, or whatever it was. Like they whatever they knew to survive, they carried the rest of the group on. Maybe the 12-year-old a little bit, but yeah, and like he's only 13, like
Yeah, but by
but
that
again,
time,
they
if
were
you've had
kind of from the
exposure,
area.
but if you've had exposure as a kid now, like think back to what it was like to learn shit like when you were younger, and like in the old West times versus like now. They might have had more like hands-on contact with things. Like they probably shot guns better than we do. They probably because they had worse tools and they had to like be more accurate. But for the knowledge base, their knowledge base is just crazy lacking. So like you might be able to take down a deer, but you would probably eat the wrong mushroom and just die because you just didn't know. Right? And like the only way we knew was when someone tested it and realized, "Oh shit, that killed Tom over there. We probably shouldn't eat those anymore." And like someone had to research it. So like we have all this knowledge. I feel like that alone is enough for our brains to be able to bridge the gap. Like if it's anything in the past. The future, I don't think. I think there would be like such an adjustment curve that we would probably have mental breakdowns in the beginning. Like, can you imagine bringing people like Thomas Edison or like George Washington to today, like, and explaining to him that you're communicating to someone like through this, like through your
Yeah,
phone? Like, what? Like,
that would be insane.
how do you even where do you even start with them?
I'm like, what if you brought Jesus Christ back and like, hey, check it out. We
Dude,
can.
if Jesus Christ himself came back and didn't have the fucking knowledge, I'd be like, you're not Jesus.
Yeah.
Where are your powers?
Yeah.
Like I
Like
did.
you
Like
don't
I
know what a
did.
cell phone is, then you're not the real Jesus.
Yeah, if you don't already know,
Yeah,
right?
you should
Because he
already
should
know what all
technically
this
be
is.
alive right now.
Yeah. You're not
Yeah,
Jesus.
that's true. Yeah, that would be crazy. They would lose their minds. Like, I'm assuming.
Yeah.
Like, I can't even imagine what we would see to make us lose our minds. But then
Right.
again, in a
But they couldn't
way,
either.
we're kind of seeing it. Like, you guys see these like UFO like videos of like these like balls, like
That
just like
causes you to
crazy stuff.
that causes you to lose your mind.
I mean, like it's technology that's so far in the future we literally can't fathom it. So like it's the exactly what we're talking about, like
I no, when I say
essentially.
lose their mind, I mean I think literally being around the technology for too long, they would cause something to break within them. I don't think there's any technology today. I mean, obviously I can't imagine, right? But they also couldn't imagine. So like there probably is something, who knows what it is. But like I I can't imagine if you're someone who lived in a time where there was literally like wooden houses, like literally where you walked into a house and you saw the planks from the outs that were in the outside, like you could see outside through the slats. Like I can't imagine like living in a world where that's the most advanced house.
Oh my God. Like
And
they
then
didn't
coming
have
to and then coming to
insulation.
this, yeah, like the first pilgrims, like when they, like they were just building huts.
Like how are you surviving the winter in
A
that?
lot of
Like
them didn't.
Yeah, that's
just be
true.
like, well,
They
this
died.
is the end.
Yeah. Like when you
Yeah,
went
that's
places, it
crazy.
was you like when you went over when you crossed a body of water in the old days, you were making a decision of probably not returning to wherever you left from. It was like, all right, that's the end of my journey in that place forever. Like that's it.
It's just like space travel today. Like once you leave, you're not coming back. Like whoever tries to go on the first mission outside of the solar system, that's exactly the case. Like they're like, okay, we're never coming back. And yeah, that's exactly true. Once we get like that ability, they're gonna be looking at those days exactly the same way.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, would you shit your pants if you saw a UFO? Actually, that's fucking crazy.
No.
There is this one person. So like apparently like this cop saw a UFO and it got caught on his body cam. Uh and like a bunch of people like from the area started calling 911 because like they saw like this 8 foot tall like like creature or whatever, like outside of a ship or whatever. And it was really crazy. Like at a certain point, I'm just getting like, what is this? Like, why are people calling about this? Like, is this real? Like, I don't even know. But it was all on camera. It was like decent video. So I'm just like, okay, so if this is real and like aliens are just like out there and there's like casually like flying by, like checking us out, like, oh hey, there's the human planet. Like, let's go stop by and like see what they do if we like come over there. It's like, and then they just like zoom off once we get too close or whatever. Like that's exactly the scenario. Like if we had to go live in whatever like wherever they're from or wherever like their home planet is, I wonder what would it be like? Like, is it anything that would resemble like human civilization at all? Or are what we're seeing, if they were aliens that we're seeing, if it was that, are they just like robots and like is that what like all life like eventually evolves into? And then like yeah, you just basically are akin to communicating telepathically or just through like signals or wires or something. Because if that was the case, then yeah, like that's unlivable. Like I have nothing to do in a world where everyone just communicates through like signals essentially. But if like there's still any sort of like talking or like human gatherings or like even people, like it doesn't even have to be human anymore. Like it was as long as like there's some semblance of like togetherness outside of like the signals, then I think I could maybe survive for a little bit.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know. I don't think
Crazy. But yeah,
I
I
don't think
wouldn't
that I
survive in
could.
the past, that's for sure.
Yeah, I think I'd have a better chance in the past. But it definitely depends on what time and where. Because, like, dude, like, the jungle, like, the American jungle, like, before when we first got here, yeah, no, there's no chance.
Yeah, just
Absolutely not.
untamed jungle. Like there's no nothing, no amenities anywhere. Like every day you have to survive by yourself and what you find outside, no matter what happens to you.
I
Like,
couldn't.
no wonder
I
people
could
only
do.
live to be like 30.
I could do Untamed Jungle maybe if I found like a body. Like think about it like Ark. Like I could make it if I spawn near the water. But if I spawn anywhere else and
Oh
like
my
it's
God.
it's the beginning of like when America's getting like colonized where black people like like are already the bottom of the food chain, there's no chance.
Oh man. Yeah,
Like,
there's
so you
definitely
have
no
to
chance.
spawn by yourself, nobody else on the island, and you. But I think I can make that work.
Interesting. So you can go back. So you can go back so far in time where there was less people, and then you'll be just
Yeah,
fine.
actually, the least, yeah, the fewer people, the better for me.
That's funny. Yeah, it's either you go far, super far back in time and there's less people, or the further you go in time, there's more people and they communicate in such weird ways that it's literally just unrelatable. It's more than just another language. It's just like, what is even happening? Yeah,
Yeah,
both
so
are
you
very
just,
like isolating, but two completely different scenarios.
yeah, yep. I just don't see myself being able to live in like the 40s. Like, there's just no way. Like 1940s.
That's it? Just like during World War II?
Yeah, there's no way I could live there in the 40s. The 40s or the
Wow,
50s. Like that,
what would happen?
I don't know. I just, from what I've seen of that era, it just doesn't look like a place I'd want to be.
Because of like race?
Just because of the whole, like, it just feels like there's a dark. Anytime you've ever seen anything about the 50s, doesn't there always feel like there's a dark smog over everything?
Yeah,
Like, that's what I feel. I
100%.
feel like I'm living in smog.
And that's what the 50s were, and the 60s. Yeah, it was just smog.
Like, why is everything, like, industrial and brick and all the same shade of like, gray and, like, burgundy?
Yeah, like we did not care about like public health back then. Like we invented nukes, and the first place we tested them on was ourselves.
We were like, nuke
Like,
up and nuke down, baby.
yeah, we just blew it up like right by like Las Vegas, and it's like everyone around here will be fine.
What a world. Yeah, so not the
Yeah,
40s. Not the 40s for me.
yeah, that's true.
All
That's
right.
true. And then like that was also the time of the asylums where they would be like, we don't like you, put them in an insane asylum, and then they would just like
Oh
chop off a
yeah,
part of your brain
I didn't even
and
think
be like,
about that.
applaud this man.
Yeah,
Yeah. Oof.
there's a whole American Horror Story season on that. But yeah, that's yeah,
Funny.
what a world. Well, anyway, I think that's a good place to call it for this episode. Good job,
That
everybody.
works.
Good job.
Glad
Yeah.
we're not in the 50s.
Yeah. If there's anything to take from this, just be thankful you're not in the 50s. If you're listening to this, you have a better quality of life probably than people in the 50s.
Probably.
So good for you.
Unless you were a white man in America, then you probably were pretty good, actually.
Yeah.
Yeah, yep, probably. But you were gonna die at 40 still. So,
Yeah, you're still gonna for sure die
yeah.
yeah, at 40, but like aside from that, you'll
If
be
not
fine.
by then, lung cancer is definitely getting you in the 50s. There's
Yeah.
no
Yes,
way
like
Yeah.
100%
no way
chance.
around
Like
that.
even if you didn't smoke, there is
Your
so much
lungs
smoke that you will get it anyways.
your lungs and your liver, they're toast. So,
Yep.
Hashtag
anyway,
50s. Make
yeah.
America great again.
Yep. What a great time to be alive. Bye.